And welcome back to the Crochet Crowd. So, my friends at yarnspirations.com. We're doing the snow days with hot chocolate. This is considered week number 2, but I'm going to add a little bit of week number 3 to this because I think you'll be excited that once you get all these 12 little squares done, you're going to want to know how to put it together. And then I also want to do the first round that once that's together. So it's a bit of a process because not only are you going to want to block the middle one to be able to sew it to this piece here, but you're going to want to block the whole piece, which means kind of just spray it with some damp water, just lay it flat to dry and make sure that it keeps its shape. So that's one of those things that you have to do. Remember with the acrylic yarn, once you block it the first time, it's good to go. It's not like a wool product where you block it and then you wash it and then you have to reblock. Acrylic kind of keeps its own blocking for then on. So let's begin and let's get more into detail with these little squares, and then we'll talk about week number 3 and show you how to do the assembly. So we need to create 12 of these little squares. So you're going to see it looks like this, and they're very similar to the big one. The only difference is that you see this red that goes around for the first time in order to have it to turn into a square. That's a little bit more complex than this because of the sizing. So that's something that you'll have to pay attention to. And so you'll find a whole diagram available on page number 3. Here's my tip for you. I would do everything in the white first. So do all 12 of the white first, and then come back and then do all of the other bordering colors with the red second. It's less for you to remember because once you get this into your head, it really works itself out. Let's take a look at the sample I've been working on behind the scenes. So what I'm doing for you is that I'm just showing you how to do the basic steps, and once we begin to do the rest of this tutorial after today, all I just needed to do is to one corner to show you the repeat to get to the next corner, and then you can build up on it. So my afghan that you're seeing here will never be a complete solid piece. It's just showing you how to do the steps. So what we want to do is create this first, and I'm still using my Payton's Inspired. I decided to keep all the squares the same color, and then the really key factor for this is that once this is assembled, the stitch counts across here, oh God, the dog and the cats, the stitch counts across the first, every side will matter a lot in order to keep it in balance, and that's something that took me a little bit of time to be able to figure out. I'm going to also show you today the invisible join, which will join. Here's my big tip, I'll leave it right now. If you are going to join things together, when you finish your square, put that so that it's in here. Don't leave it on an outside edge or here. On the outside edge, when you do slip stitching, sometimes that you think it's a stitch and it's not, and it becomes really obvious. So if you put it here on a join like this and just sew it together, it'll be really quite invisible, and therefore you won't screw the counts of then going all the way around. So let's begin and start make one of these squares. So let's begin today, and we're going to create a slip knot. You can use any yarn you wish. The original pattern was a 5mm size H. I'm using a 6mm size J because I'm still using my Payton's Inspired yarn. Let's chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and slip stitch to the beginning chain to form the center ring. So just yarn over, pull through, and this is the beginning chain as a ring. Let's do round number 1. In round number 1, we want to chain 3, which will count as your first double crochet. And then in the center ring, I need you to put in 11 more double crochets. Go right up over top of the straggler, the loose end, so that you can hide that in and not have to sew that in later. So please just go all the way around and get your 11 in. So the 11 plus the chain 3 gives you a total count of 12, and I'll be right back in a moment. So with the chain 3 plus the 11, it gives you a total count of 12, and you'll be able to count that. So slip stitch it to the top of the first chain 3 to bring it to conclusion. If you went over top of the straggler, which I hope you did, just kind of pull on it a little bit and then trim it. That should never fall out on you. So now we have this, and we're moving on to round number 2. Round number 2, we're going to just chain 1 right where we're sitting, and right where you did the join, single crochet in. You're then going to chain 3 and skip the next one right here and single crochet in the next. And you're going to do that all the way around. Okay, so chain 3, skip the next one, and single crochet in the next. Okay, so let's do this all the way around and meet me back just before you finish. So I'm coming back around. The first one always looks like there's 2 stitches, but this is part of that first one, so don't get confused by that. New crocheters get messed up by that, and maybe some of us old people too, meaning people that have been crocheting a while. So now you're going to just chain 3 and then just slip stitch to the first single. So what you want to do is you want to count and make sure you have only 6 chain 3 spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let's move on to round number 3. So round number 3, right where you're sitting, you're going to chain 1 and put a single crochet into the single crochet. And now each chain 3 space is going to have the following information. It's going to have 2 singles first, so 1 and 2, and then I need you to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and single crochet 2 more times into the chain 3 space. Okay, so that's all happening in one space. So single in the next single, and then repeat that same information in the next chain 3 space. So 2 single crochets first, chain 5, and 2 more single crochets in the space. Okay, and then single in the next single, and etc. Please do this all the way around. This is round number 3. So I'm coming all the way around. You should see 6 of these kind of petal spaces. You've already put a single crochet in this single, so when you get your last space done, just just slip stitch. I don't know why I'm saying that. Slip stitch to the first one. Okay, so that's what it looks like, and let's move on to round number 4. Round number 4, lots going on, but it's an easy repeat of 6 times going around. You're going to just chain up 1 and single in the same one that you did the join. And watch how we do this. We need to chain 2 to reach there first and single in the chain 5. We've done this in week number 1. So now you're going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and single back into that same spot. You're now going to chain 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and single back into that spot. And then chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then single crochet back in that spot. So it looks like a fleur-de-lis kind of concept. To get back to the next single crochet, you're just going to chain 2, reach on over, and single in the middle single crochet. And then I'll take you through one more repeat. So each one will look like this. So chain 2 to reach over first, single into the next chain 5. Chain 5 now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, single crochet in. Chain 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, single crochet in. And now chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and single crochet in. And then chain 2 to reach over to the middle single crochet in this line here. Please do this all the way around. You'll have an exaggerated snowflake by the end of this round. So I'm coming all the way back around, and I've just chained 2 so I can reach over to the middle one that we started with. So just slip stitch it over. Finally set it right after all this time. And this is where this color will end. Of course, if you want to keep your colors going, that's up to you, but this is the snowflake that you see. We're going to just finish this yarn. Now I can't reach through the screen and make you weave in your tails as you go, but I would highly recommend it. Maybe leave me a comment. Are you a weaver inner as you go, or do you like to leave it all to the end and make your life rough? Some people don't mind at the end, but I certainly do mind. I'd rather just hide in my ends, just going back and forth the total 3 times inside. And it's better if you can split the plies, not just go in between the strands. And we can get rid of that. So we're going to be moving on now to the next round, number 5. And that's coming up. Let's begin the next round, number 5, a nice easy round for you. And I would recommend that you start with a standing single crochet. You notice that there's not a chain 1 in there in the video description. So go in the chain 7 space and just put this on the hook already and go in, yarn over, and pull through the 2 loops. Okay, that's a standing single crochet instead of attaching chain 1 and single crocheting in, so you're doing everything in one sweep. You're now going to chain 3, and I need you to treble into the next fleur-de-lis, the chain 5 right here. So ignore the chain 7, go into the chain 5 and do a treble. This is going to hold that in place. Then chain 1, and then treble into this chain 5 on this fleur-de-lis here, or this petal. So it's crossing over. And then chain 3. So 1, 2, 3. Come to the chain 7, it's the tip piece, single crochet, and do it that same step all over again. So chain 3, so 1, 2, 3, and then you are going to treble into the next fleur-de-lis over here, the chain 5, chain 1, and then come to this one here. So you're crossing over back, go right into the space and treble, and then chain 3, so 1, 2, 3, and single into the next chain 7. Okay, so everything's going to hold itself in a position. Please do this all the way around. This is round number 5. So I'm coming all the way around on number 5, and you're just going to slip stitch then after the chain 3 right to the beginning one, and that will conclude that one. So we're now going to move on to number 6, which is the hardest round I think of all of the entire blanket. I'm going to walk with you quite slowly through it so you can replay the video over and over. So let's go through number 6, and let's go through slowly. We're going to chain 1 first and single crochet in the single. See the straggler? Capture that inside the chain 3. And in the chain 3, you need to put in 2 single crochets first. So we have 1 and 2, and then a half double crochet in the same space. In the next treble, you are going to apply a half double crochet. The next space here in between the two is going to be a double crochet. The next treble is a double crochet. The next chain 3 space is going to be 2 trebles first. Followed by a chain 2. And in the same space, you need to apply 2 trebles and 1 double crochet into the same spot. So 2 trebles first. And 1 double crochet in the same spot. You've officially now turned a corner. Let's keep on moving. Sorry about the dogs today. So it's a double crochet in the next. And in the next chain 3 space, you're going to apply 2 half double crochets and a single crochet. So start with 2 halves first. And a single in. The next treble here is going to be a single. The next space between the 2 trebles is a single. The next treble is also a single. The next chain 3 space is going to be a single crochet first and 2 half double crochets. The next single is going to be a double. And in the next space here, it's going to be different from this corner. It's going to be 1 double crochet first, and then 2 trebles. Chain 2 to turn the corner, and in the same space, this time it's only going to be 2 trebles. The next treble that you'll run into is a double crochet. The next space between the trebles is a double crochet. The next treble is a half double crochet. The next chain 3 space is 1 half double crochet first and 2 single crochets. The next single crochet is a single, and the next chain 3 space is going to be 2 single crochets and 1 half double crochet. So 2 singles and a half. The next treble is going to be a half double crochet. The next space between the trebles is a double crochet. The next treble here is a double crochet, and then we're heading to a corner. So the corner is going to be the same as this one right here. So we're going to start off, and you are going to apply 2 trebles first. Then chain 2, and in the same space you are going to apply 2 trebles and 1 half. Sorry, 2 trebles and 1 double. And 1 double crochet there. The next space here, or sorry, the next single crochet here is going to be a double crochet. And in the next chain 3 space, you are going to apply 2 half double crochets first. And then a single in. The next treble is a single. The next space between the 2 trebles is a single. The next treble is a single. And the next chain 3 space is going to be 1 single and 2 halves. The next single is going to be 1 double crochet. And then this is the next corner. So how you start it is 1 double crochet first in the space and 2 trebles. Then chain 2, then in the same space, 2 treble crochet. Okay, we're coming up to where we started. From here, it's 1 double in the next treble, 1 double in the chain space between the 2 trebles. The next treble here is a half. The next and final chain 3 space is 1 half and 2 single crochets. And this just took you all the way around. You're going to slip stitch. So in the video chapters, what you can do, you can see round number 6. Just go back to the video chapters, click around number 6, the time marker, and that'll take you back to the beginning to follow it around with me over and over as much as you need. Let's move on to round number 7. Round number 7 and the finale is going to be chain up 1 and single crochet in the same one as the join. And all you need to do is just apply 1 single crochet in each stitch going around. And then in the corners, it's unique. It's 2 single crochets, chain 2, 2 single crochets, and I'll be in the corner in a moment. So you don't need to count. You just got to slam in a stitch in every stitch. And corners, again, are 2 single crochet, chain 2, 2 single crochet. Please do this all the way around, and I want you to just to make a note when you get all the way around, don't accidentally put an extra stitch there, and I'll be right back in a second. So coming all the way around, remember what I kind of talked about, like a stitch not appearing to be a stitch, or appears to be a stitch and it's not? It's this one. That's not a stitch. That's just part of the first one. So people tend to put stitches in that one and then they end up screwing up their counts. So just slip stitch to the first one after that. Okay, so that is something that you can have. So now you can just fasten off this yarn, weave in your ends, and you're good to go. And now I'm going to talk about doing the attaching. So you want to do all 12 first before you start even thinking about attaching, and that's going to be your mission. So weave in your tails and let's talk about the attaching. So this is where we're going to move on to week number 3. And in week number 3, what we're going to do is just get ourselves set up so then this gray section right here, we can just slam it through on week 3 officially on a tutorial, but let's get ready for that. So what you want to do is you want to get all 12 done, and you want to put all 12 together in this formation, and you're going to whip stitch on the back loop in order to create an invisible join. So you don't want to start with the center and attach. Let's just make the square like this as a solid unit first. And therefore, once that's all together, you're then going to then put the center piece in, and then you're going to whip stitch that into position. And you're going to want to damp block this thing. So you're going to want to just pin it down, just dampen it a little bit. And if you don't have pins, just dampen a little bit, just stretch it out and make it look like a square. Okay, so you're going to do that after it's completely assembled like this first. My tip for you, right where you finished off, the slip stitch always appears like an extra stitch, and it is really easy to screw that up on an outside edge. So I want you to make sure that this here is in a join of being joined together. So let's just say that this square and this square, it's right here, and therefore the exterior edge is the right stitch count that you need. I found with myself is that I left a few on the outside like that, and I was really questioning my life. So I want you to put that together. So I'm going to show you the formation of putting this together, and then I'm also going to have you block it. If you choose not to, that's your business. I can't change your mind. But then I'm going to show you just the first round going all the way around after this to frame this up and make it get ready for the next part. My first tip for you, create a slip knot. So you're just going to take a piece of yarn that you're going to use to sew and create a slip knot and leave it open. Now, the color that you choose should either be the edge of this one or this one, not a completely different color, but I'm doing it on purpose just to show you where the stitches are going to go. So choose one or the other. It doesn't really matter. It'll look good either way, as long as it's, you know, honestly, I've seen people do so much great work with this and then they use a color that doesn't belong and it looks like sin. If sin had a look, that's what it would look like. So what I want you to do is put your tapestry needle in, and I want you to go into the back loop of this one. So it's the furthest loop. So don't go into 2, go into the back loop. Then I want you on this one, on the same stitch on the opposite side, come in the back loop on this side coming up. And you're just going to match. And when you pull through, keep my hands out of the way here, you want to put this through and that'll lock it. Okay, so let's just hold and it will lock. Leave the straggler and just push it in between, and we'll deal with that later. Now, you're going to move down to the next stitch that's available to you on this side, and you're going to come in the back loop and then move down the stitch on this one on the back loop. And I'm using a different color just to illustrate what it will look like for you. Okay, so you got that. And so then toss your yarn back to the side and go over. This is called the whip stitch. I don't think it's a mattress stitch, but you can correct me on there. So once in a while, I would tug on it and it will pull it even tighter. But when it's the same color as either of the two, it blends so well. That's why it's called an invisible join. And because you're using the back loops only, what this is doing is it's having the joins settle between each other, where if you use both of the strands that make up a stitch, it puckers up like a window pane, like a windowsill. And to me, that's not so enjoyable. So once in a while, just tug on it and you'll see it's tightening up. And you just want to work your way all the way down through the join. Okay, so some people really hate sewing, which is, you know, called a wambulance. But in actual fact, the way that I see it is that sewing is like one of the final steps of getting things done. So if this means that all the stitch work is kind of done and you're ready for this process. And again, just be consistent, kind of tug on it, and you see it's blending really well. That's what I would do. And so I'll meet you at the end of here in just a moment. I was kind of off by a little bit. So if you ever see that, you can always skip a stitch. You can't even see that you did, and especially if you're using the same color. So the off just means that it maybe just stretched slightly different. And so that's something that you can decide to do for yourself. Okay, so make sure that you create your own rules when the rules seem to be broken. So once you get this done, you're just going to turn it over and then just weave in your ends really nicely on the back, just going back and forth a total of 3 times. So I would tie it in a knot first, then back and forth 3 times, and then you can cut it right down. And therefore your join is flat, so there's no lip. Do you see any lip there? Nope, it's not there. And so what you want to do is create that formation of the square, and then we're going to then talk about the middle section that will go in. So let's do that next. Okay, so once you have this formation all done, you can block it before you put in the center. It's up to you. I don't know if I did or not. I don't remember. I don't think I did, but you know, who knows? This was done in August and it's now November. So what I want to do is get that formation done. Then what I wanted to do is that I want to put the center piece in. Now the center piece is going to stretch a little bit. So I purposely designed that so that it will stretch in a position, because nothing's worse than you have a saggy bottom. you know what I'm talking about. So what I did for myself is that I attached it with the stitch marker to the corners first. So before sewing, I attached it to each corner. Okay. Then I looked at the halfway point and I just kind of eyed it up, and I put in a stitch marker there in each one of the halfway points. So it was attached in all of these spots. This means that when I go to sew, that if I decide that this is the middle piece, if I'm deciding to sew and then something is going a little awry, you need to make sure that this always stays in the center, so you can kind of eye things and shift things a little bit and then continue to go. So my thing is that if you don't put this here and you're like almost a halfway across or whatever, and you realize that you got more stitches here than you did here, it throws it completely out of balance. So therefore you'll use the same concept of using the back loop only to join, and therefore it will look like this. Okay, let's just zoom you out a little bit here. Let's pull you out. And so you'll have this. So there would have been one here as well. So it would have followed all the way around. So you'll set it in, attach, and then you're good to go. So do that. We're then going to do the framed round. This is the most critical round of them all. And what I want to do is that I want to establish the round as you go around. Now, it's really critical. It took me a bit of time to design this because I'm not used to designing like this. And so what I want to do is that I have a bigger diagram here that's available for you on page number 5. Do you see when you attach stuff here, it causes an indentation down, and nothing bothers me the worst. I know, first world problem, is that when you are crocheting along and then in the dips in between, it causes it to dip. So let's get rid of that. Right where they're joined, you're going to put a double crochet, which will reach down further to be able to connect that so that it'll keep that edge relatively straight. Okay, it's the only straight thing on camera today. So you'll be half double crocheting in each of the stitches across, and then you're going to be jumping down to put in the double crochet at the join spot. So look carefully. There's a half in the chain 2 of this one, a half in the chain 2 of this one, and a double right where they're connecting. The goal is to get the stitch counts to be accurate, and let's get what that count is. So right here, as states, we need to have 92 half double crochets and 3 double crochets. Those 3 double crochets are the ones that are sinking down. There's only 3 of them, right? So it sinks here 1, 2, and 3. And that gives you a total count of 95 stitches. It says HDC, but that's my mistake. It's 95 stitches between the chain 2 corners. What that means is that it's from here to here. Okay, so the chain 2 does not count as any stitches. So there is 92 half double crochets, 3 doubles, which gives you 95 stitches. I don't care what you do at this point. You need to get 95 stitches or the rest of this afghan's not going to work. So if you have to fake it and put in a 2 together stitch in order to get back to 95 if you have an extra, or if you don't have enough, just slam in an extra half double crochet here and there in order to get it to balance, but it should balance. Okay, so this one took me a while to do. So what you're going to do is that you're going to attach to the corner, chain 1 and half double crochet into the corner. Then you're going to half double crochet in each of the stitches, including the chain 2 spaces, and then double crochet down and continue. And on this side, you will then put in a half double crochet, chain 2, half double crochet here. I want you to do this entire round. What I'm going to be doing on camera is slightly different. So the method to my madness, in order to show you, you have to assume that I have this done and I have my 4 squares across. But what I'm going to do is that because the rest of this afghan is an easy repeating, once you do a little section, it's repeat, repeat, repeat right to the next corner. It's easy for me to demonstrate that. So I don't need to do a whole blanket fresh here on camera with you. So what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to attach here and let's begin that frame round and I'll show you. So let's just create a slip knot and attach to any chain 2 space that's in the corner. And you're just going to attach and then chain 1. And you want to half double crochet in that same spot. So because I had you put the endings in here, you're not going to have to worry about the stitch counts being off at all. So each stitch is going to have a half double crochet, and at the joins, it's going to be slightly different. You can use any color that you want to. Sometimes I like to use the same color as the frame itself, just in case there's any imperfections. So I'll meet you at a join spot just to verify that I think I know what I'm talking about. So I'm coming up to a join. Just pull things apart if you just don't see it. So there's the chain 2 right here. And you were going to apply a half double crochet there. Then the connection spot is right here. Double crochet into the connection down here. Then come to the chain 2 on this square or chain 2 space, and then you start half double crocheting across. The first one is right here. Okay, so don't think it's there. Just pull it apart if you don't see it. It's right there. Do you see this strand that goes down? That means that there's a stitch. So what you want to do is get yourself to the next corner all the way across and doing what you need to do at the connection spots. And because I just had you do that, see, it's flat. I know, I'm just not any dummy on camera. I'm your dummy today. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to pretend that I'm going to come around, and then I'll meet you back here at the beginning of this right here. So you'll be coming all the way around the square. Okay, and I'll see you back here in a second. So let's pretend that I've gone all the way around. We've got to fake it or make it sometimes, right? For educational purposes, it's really good. Okay, so in the last corner, there's going to be 1 half double crochet. And then what does it say to do? It then says to chain 2 and then slip stitch to the top of the first half double crochet. So ignore that chain 1, and then therefore that's good. And this here, it says to fasten off. So this is the full round done. It's framed. And now the rest of this, if you want to block it and anything like that, it has instructions there. And then we are going to then start with the bordering next. And the bordering will then take us right to the end of the project. And we're going to begin that section in just a few moments. But not today, in the next video. And I'll see you back here then.